Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delaze. Welcome back, guys. So this week we did read another Kim Namjoon story. It is called New Neighbor by your_Jagia91. And pretty much the summary is you and your brother Jin meet Namjoon and his brother Tae when they move across the street, and that's when Jimin and Yoongi meet Jungkook. New neighbors are always interesting. So let's get into it.
Yes, so in the beginning of the story, this girl goes by your name, but in the story they call her Nuna, so we're gonna call her Nuna. Really, they don't call her. It's not a lot of times that they put the YN in there. It's most of the time.
Yeah.
So we have this girl, Nuna, which her brother in the story is Jim. They live in this house in this nice neighborhood. Of course, they must live in the smallest house on the neighborhood. And their neighbors move out. And this girl has been going through like a lot with her past boyfriend. And should I already go ahead and tell the backstory to the backstory?
Go ahead.
So the backstory is that she was in a relationship with this guy that she was very close to it, like trusted, like was very close to marrying him. And he asked her to marry him, but she bought the wedding ring.
Yeah, she was like giving him money for stuff.
Yeah, like she had no problem dashing the cash out. So she bought her own engagement ring. And I don't know if the ring got missing or something through the process, but she didn't think nothing of it. What happened was she went to, dang, what'd she do? Go give him lunch or something?
Yeah.
She was going to give him lunch at work, and when she walked in and on him, he purposely was going down on another girl.
Like positioned so she could see it. Like knew she was.
Purposely.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's so horrible. And then, and she is sitting there shocked because remember, she trusted this guy. Like she had no inkling that he was with anybody else. She gonna throw up the ring, honey, and show her the ring. And nothing she could do about it because the ring was in her name. So this girl out here in the streets rocking her engagement ring.
That she paid for or is paying for.
Is still paying for because
it's still paying for.
Yes, has a payment plan on the ring that she bought.
Gosh. You know that show Snapped?
Right.
Oh man. Sorry, go ahead.
Girl, that was horrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she's out of this relationship with this guy. All of a sudden, she never talks to him again. So she's just been this bitter girl, like she's never been herself since then. So flash forward, their neighbors move out, and Jen and her live together, and they notice that there's a moving truck coming in, and there's some people moving into this house across the street. Which in my head, I was thinking it was next door for some reason.
Yeah, I kept thinking next door.
You know why I was thinking it was next door?
Why?
Because I was thinking about Frat House. Remember Frat House? That was right next door. So that's because I kept thinking about that window.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I was thinking about. But it was across the street this time. So they were moving across the street, and they happened to look and see these two fine, sexy pieces of work. Kim Namjoon, honey. Kim Namjoon and Kim Tae-young. They are in the story as brothers. So, I could just see how sexy they look in.
Right?
I could see him with Namjoon with glasses on.
Yep.
Like moving stuff. I don't know. In my head, I seen Tay with like mint green hair for some reason. I don't know why. But in my head, that's what he with the big. You know, he liked to wear the baggy pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I was picturing in my head for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were moving in, and Jen was like, Jen is not shy. Jen like, oh, let's go talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, we ain't even gonna do that. But I guess Tay seen Jen looking out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jen loves men. He's gay in this story.
Mm-hmm.
So Jen, they were looking out the window, and then Taeyong looked back and seen that Jen was looking. So before they could get out that window, good, because they was being extra nosy, they come knocking at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? They was like, "You take off."
Okay, so after they come knocking at the door, they open it up to see them standing there.
Uh-huh.
So, they shook hands and all that, and they were like, "Nice to meet you." It was Tay that
Uh-huh.
came in first.
Uh-huh.
So, they're kind of like eyeing each other, and Jin's kind of trying to do his eye shot, and Tay
Uh-huh.
kind of doing the same thing. And so Jin's like, "Hey, is that your boyfriend? Like, what's up?" And he's like, "No, that's my brother." So then Jin's like that, looking at his sister, like, "You hear that, girl?
Yeah.
That's his brother, and he fine too. He fine
Right.
too." So,
Mm-hmm.
um, they introduce themselves and all that. They tell their ages and all that good stuff. And then Namjoon ends up coming up. So there, as she sees Namjoon, she's like, "Holy shit, he is fine as hell." Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, this is what's up.
And automatically starting to flirting.
Automatically.
Uh-huh.
But I like how it was written because he's like, "My name's Namjoon," in case you wanted to know.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I think they pretty much kind of kicked it, kind of getting to know each other that night.
yeah, they did. They got to know each other that night. I know they talked about Jungkook because he was moving with them as well. So the
Uh-huh.
reason that they were moving, if the backstory of them moving to that place is Namjoon and Tae's dad had passed away, and he had a company, and so they were taking over the company, and moving was going to allow them to not have to travel as much, and also to kind of just have a little bit stability. And Jungkook came with them because he also works for the company.
Uh-huh.
So they Jin's like, "Hey, well, you guys should come back over. We'll like have dinner." And we'll kind of talk some more. So that's pretty much what happens. Like they converse, they eat, everything was cool. Jungkook hadn't shown up just yet, though.
So I think they just kind of kick it, eat, or whatever. They end up just going their separate ways back, going home. And then I guess it's like Tay kind of figured out that he liked her, like Jen a little bit already.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tells Namjoon, okay, I'm kind of like, wait, they have dinner the next day.
Yeah, they have dinner.
They
Yeah.
have they have dinner the next day. They have a good time. Namjoon and Nuna are flirting, and Tay and Jin are flirting. They just have a really good night. And Tay, they go back home, and then Tay tells Namjoon, "Okay, I really like this guy. Don't mess her up." And
Mm-hmm.
Namjoon is like, "What are you talking about? How am I gonna mess up?" He was like, "Okay, bro, like you talked to a couple of girls and you broke their heart." Like he was like,
Mm-hmm.
Namjoon was like, "Well, I didn't sleep with him." He was like, "But you led them to think that you wanted to, like you wanted to be in a relationship with them, but you didn't, and you broke it off with them and hurt their feelings. Please don't do this to this girl, because I really like this guy." And then he was like, "Well, I won't do that. I try not to do that because, Namjoon was just at this time, he wasn't in love with the girl. He just was like, whatever."
Right, because he also went through some heartbreak.
Right, right. Which I thought in the story, because, a lot of the stories, I thought it was going to be her ex and his ex
That's what
together.
I thought too. I was
Uh-huh.
like, wouldn't that be crazy if that's like their exes dating each other? I knew that was gonna
Uh-huh.
come up, but it didn't, thankfully.
It did, yeah.
But so while Namjoon and Tae are having the conversation about their neighbors, the girl and Jin are having conversation as well. And Jin's pretty much like, "Hey, girl, like it's okay, let him like flirt with you." And she's still kind of having a hard time because of all the stuff that had happened. And so she's like, I'll try or whatever. So okay, this is what it was. It was early when they were moving. So they came over that time and they talked to them, and then Jin invited them to come back for dinner. So they went home, and that's when those two conversations were happening. And then they ended up coming back
Uh-huh.
over for dinner. So when they're getting ready for dinner, they had gone to. She was getting dressed. She had been in the shower getting dressed and whatever. Well, she walked out without a shirt on.
Mhm.
And so when she walked out, she didn't know that Tay and Namjoon were sitting there as
Already
well.
there. Uh-huh.
So she needed to. I think she needed to put like sunscreen or something on her back because it was hurting. So Namjoon ended up putting it on for her because Jin had his hands busy and Tay was being with Jin. So Namjoon ended up being the one that put it on her. And immediately when he touches her, she's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like,
Mhm. She ain't been touched by a man in a minute.
right.
It's been a while.
And he's really trying to shoot his shot for real. Like he's flirting with her, winking at her, all this other stuff, and she's
Mhm.
just like kind of like, I guess I don't really want to
Yeah, she
do
ain't
all
want no
this.
company really. She really
Yeah.
was just doing it. She really was only doing it because Jen asked her to.
Mhm.
Jen really was like, "Can you flirt a little
Can
bit?"
you do something, girl? I'm tired of
Yeah,
this. You're not gonna cock block me, girl.
right.
I need you to stop.
I love Jen in this story, though. I
Me
did.
too. Me too. They have the dinner. They're just having conversation, getting to know each other. She's so one thing we didn't mention. She's an artist, and Jin, and she does something else as well, but she also Jin is a doctor.
Mhm.
So the next part is Jimin coming back into town. I guess so. Him and Yoongi are together, and they come back into town, and Jimin has always been like kind of flirty with her in a way that was like, "Hey, girl, if you ever want to be part of this duo, we can make this a throuple type of thing." And she's like, "No,
Right.
boo, I'm cool. I love you to death,
Mhm.
but it's not my thing."
Right. Like I love you, but I don't love you like that, boo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So then that's when I guess at that time they had something going on, and then all of them was there, and they would start telling him about. No, that's when Namju and Tay came over, and he was like looking at them, like Jimmy was looking at them like, they looking good,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started talking about JK,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like, who was JK?
Yeah, and then he showed up.
Yeah.
So when they ended up going over to the house. They showed up at the house, and so they're like introducing them to everybody. And Jimin and Jungkook immediately are like, "Yep,
Mhm.
this bay right here." And he's like, "Yeah, you want to go?" I think he said something about asking if he had a boyfriend. And he's like, "Yeah." And so JK was kind of upset, and but then Jimin was like, "Yeah, but we're like open to the idea. You can go on a date with us. Like it's totally fine."
Mhm. Right.
So they set up plans. Tay and Jin set up a little coffee date,
Mhm.
and then I think don't Namjoon and the girl set up a date.
Yeah, yeah, they go on a date too, but it wasn't supposed. I don't think it was supposed to be a date then. It wasn't, but he wanted to let me take you out type thing.
Mm-hmm. Did they go to the beach that first time?
Where did they go? All I can remember is the hot tub at the.
Oh yeah, that's me too, girl. That's why I was like, where did they go? Because that was hot. I was like, yes, hot tub. Okay.
Right.
I do remember. I know there's a part where she's doing like she's painting and she's in the house by herself, and Namjoon comes over and she's like, "Oh, it's just me here." And he's like, "Yeah, no, it's cool. Like I'm wanted to see you." And so,
Oh yeah. Didn't he ask to see her work
yeah.
before he asked to see her work? Because she told him she was an artist,
Mhm.
and then he asked to see her work, and she showed him. But then she kept telling him she didn't have the inspiration to do another piece. Like she kept getting blocked.
Right. And
And then
the thing that was important about that going to the studio is because she never really let people go down there.
not even her own brother.
Right.
So it was kind of like she bringing Namjoon down there and she don't even bring her own brother.
Mhm.
So she brought him down. He seen her paint. He thought they was fabulous paintings. Then she kept telling him she was blocked and why and all this stuff like that. And then he got her to use her fingers.
Mhm.
And she was like, finger paint? I haven't done it since I was like 5. And he was
Mhm.
like, well, try it. And she ends up doing it and painting a beautiful picture with her hands.
Mhm.
And that's when she knew Namjoon was for her.
Mm-hmm. And so it was crazy because he was like giving her all this explanation behind the art of what he saw when he looked at her art, and she was just kind of blown away.
Mm-hmm. Cause she was like, "Do you really think they that good for real?"
Right. And how did you see that in my picture? And he's like, I could tell. Like, I could just see the sadness in it. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, what? But then she was also like, but yeah, it could also be in like growth and all that. So they had
Mm-hmm.
that conversation over the art, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then I think he asked her to go to the beach like that night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I know the beach trip wasn't like a date, but oh wait, no, they just got in the hot tub. I don't think they went to the beach.
They went to the beach the next time though, right?
Yeah, they did. Yep. So Tay and Jin were going out, and Namjoon and the girl were hanging out. So they were like, "Hey, let's go into the hot tub."
Mm-hmm.
Hot tub is where it's at.
It's where it says apparently, because it got hot in the hot tub.
It got hot in the hot tub. Oh man, I was reading that like, woo, okay, yes, hot tub.
Mhm. Yes, man, we want to get a hot tub in this hot southern weather.
Mm-hmm. So
So
go ahead.
go ahead. You go ahead,
No,
because I
no,
don't even remember what happens to the hot tub is all I remember.
no. So stuff went down in the hot tub. I don't. He. I remember they like hugged, and she was like, "I don't want to get out the pool because I'm gonna be cold." And he was like, "I'll keep you warm." And then like
Oh
he.
yeah, he just held her. Oh, it was so
It was
sweet.
really sweet.
Yes. He was like, "Don't let go or you gonna get cold, I'm telling you."
Right. But after that, like after that night happened, he started to realize like, dang, I want to flirt with her and I want to like tease her and I want to see her blush and I want to be that person to make her smile and all this other stuff. He's like,
Right.
why is this so weird? Why is this so different? Because it's only been like a couple days.
Yeah. But they end up spending the night with each other that night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They danced together. Oh, that's what it was that got them close. They danced together in the hot tub because they were playing
Hmm.
music. That's what it was. But they didn't.
Hmm.
He didn't. They didn't. They didn't have sex or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of telling Tay about it, and was like, Tay was just kind of like, oh, this is interesting. This sounds.
No, Tay was like, "Did you mess with her?
Oh
Tell
yeah,
me
yeah. He kept
why you go over there messing with her?" Like Tay was like, "Oh, some type. Why you messing with her? I know you had sex with her." He was like, "I didn't."
right, right. You're right. And
Tay was basically saying, "If you messed us up, because I like Jen a lot.
right.
So if you messed us up," he was like, "I really think I like her. Like, I legit want to get to know who she is."
Right. Then I know like they start texting one another and they end up flirting and then they actually set out their actual date and they go to the
Mhm.
beach. So Jen is super excited. She tells Jen about it. He's like, I need you to wear your sexiest swimsuit, girl, because you need to make sure you show this man what you got popping off so he can be all over you.
Yes. Jen already had a game plan
Had a
for her.
plan. That was so
Mhm.
funny. I was like, yes. Cause and then the swimsuit that he picked for her, this was kind of sad. The swimsuit that he picked for her was a swimsuit that she had got to go on vacation with the guy. So she never actually wore it and it's been in there for like 2 years.
Mhm.
So she puts it on and he's like, yes, you look good, girl. Initially she didn't want to come out, but she finally came out and she's like, do you think he'll like it? And he's like, yes, girl. If he don't try to hump you, I'll be surprised, type of thing.
Yep. I remember him going to the beach, having a good time. They had like he found out a lot of stuff about her, and I think she found out a lot of stuff about him. And I remember them playing in the water.
He put sunscreen on her. I do remember that.
Hmm.
And she did it for him as well. And they both were kind of getting like a little bit flustered. Like he had goosebumps when she had goosebumps when he touched her, and she had goosebumps when she touched him. Or I said that wrong.
Right,
You
and
know what I
so
mean?
it had been a minute for both of them really since they got out of their bad relationship. So they both kind of thinking, "Dad, why am I feeling this way?" And
Mm-hmm.
he kind of thinking, "Dad, why I'm feeling this way." So at the same time, they mutually are kind of starting to like each other.
So something we didn't talk about. The backstory of Namjoon is he was dating this girl who what's her name, Mina. So he was dating this girl, and she pretty much, he like gave her the world and was like trying to do everything he could to be with her, but she was kind of, not even kind of, she was pretty much playing him. And
yes, and he caught her talking on the phone to this guy. It was gonna fake a pregnancy, honey.
Crazy, so that she could. That is so crazy. I'm like,
just so they can get his money.
So he had a.
And the crazy thing was that Namjoon was so mad about it because he had been wanting a baby. He had been trying to have a baby with her.
Yep, and she was on birth control, which he didn't know. So that's his backstory with why he is having a hard time trusting and wanting to date, and has been kind of acting how he had in the past. So they kind of just talk to one another about everything, and they go to she asked him if he would. So she has this painting that she painted when everything happened, and she asked him if he would come with her, if he would be there with her while she burned the painting, as kind of like a closure type of thing.
Right, and Namjoon was like, "You would have burned this, like it's a beautiful painting." And she was just basically telling, "Well, it represents something, and I just want to burn it."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, okay, that's all right. Let's do that." So,
oh, this is when they're coming from the beach, though.
Right, that's where we're at.
This is when they're coming. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they were coming from the beach, and then he was like, "Well, let me go home and get changed, and then I'll meet you over there." So he goes home and he goes across the street to his house or whatever. And then Jen and Tay are there. And he hears Tay asking Jen, I see how your sister is like she wants to be happy, but then when she finds out she's happy, like she wants to be down again. Like she's trying really hard not to be happy. And he was like, "Why is she like that?" And then Jen told him the backstory of why and all this stuff. And Namjoon is just kind of listening. So Namjoon kind of figures out why she's like that then.
Right.
So when he figured that out, when he heard Tay and Jen and they're talking, he had already had in his mind, "I have got to treat this girl like gold, basically. Like I got to do better with her."
Yeah, he like made it his mission to make sure that he showed her that all men weren't shitty. So, oh, that's what happened. She went to he picked up the ring. She went to the house and he wasn't there, and she went to the study group and he wasn't there, and she turned on the GPS locator on her phone because she thought something happened to him, and he was at a hotel.
Right.
With the girl.
And called the front desk. She to ask the front desk, "Is there such and such here?" I forgot the boy name. "Is there such and such here?" And he said, "Yeah." And the woman called. The front desk called the room and said, "Your fiance is here." He told the front desk, "Send her on up."
Yeah. That's so crazy.
That is so messed up. Girl, if I would have walked into what would you have done? What would you have done when you walked in on that girl? Somebody's head about to get knocked off.
What snapped? I would have been like, I wouldn't have done nothing to her. I mean, I might have, because she the way she did that, she knew about her. So like, that's just disrespectful.
Yes, the way she held up that ring.
But I would have been clocking him like, "You got me messed up out here looking crazy. I am paying for everything."
Honey.
She had $3,000 left. Wait, was it $3,000 left that she had to pay on the ring?
She had $5,000 left to pay on that ring. She had already paid like $9,000.
Crazy. First of all, wow. Like that ring must have been amazing.
Yeah. Blinging, girl. That ring was blinging.
Girl, I'm like, dang.
Yes, honey. I was like, "Is that a set?"
I mean, like, what does it do? Can you fly in it? Like, what's up? Teleport?
Right.
Yeah, so Namjoon hears that story, but they don't know that Namjoon is in there listening to the story. So he goes back out because they were gonna burn burn the painting. So he was like, he was just so hard, like he was so sad about it. So they come back and he asked her flat out, "Do you still love him?" So now she's like, what are you talking about? Because they weren't talking about anything. Like, he was just looking at her. He got burned. I do remember that.
He got burned.
Yeah. So there's a part where he started the fire, but he was so pissed off about what he had just heard with Jen and Tay that he ended up burning his hand. And
oh, I don't remember this
yeah,
part.
so when she walked up, she saw that his hand, like, he was holding his hand, and she, like, was immediately scared, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? So she, like, was trying to take care of his hand for him. But he asked her, like, do you still love him? And she's like, what are you talking about? So then he's like, do you still love the bastard that broke you? And she just starts crying.
Yes.
And she said no, but she was, like, crying. And he ended up just holding her as she cried. And he kept telling her she was sorry. And she kept saying she don't love him anymore. But he made it his mission to make sure that she knew that there was good men out there.
Right. Did they even burn the picture?
Yeah, I think they still did.
Ooh, that remind me of me and my husband, honey. Because when me and my husband like was serious, I had like this box of stuff for my ex-boyfriend that was in prison.
Oh gosh, girl.
And I had all this stuff. I was like, will you burn this for me? And we burned it together. So that's what that reminds me of.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I got rid of all any extra stuff, like, as soon as we were done. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm done. Thanks for the time.
Well, we weren't exactly exes when he went to jail for 15 years
right,
when
right,
I was
right.
17. I was 17 years old, so this is a good. Well, I was still doing my thing, but we were kind of,
Yeah.
I was still out here because I was young,
Mhm.
But I ended up with my husband, and I still had all the stuff I was hanging on to, and I was done with him. But I don't know why I was still holding on to it. So I was like, let's burn this stuff together, and we did.
That's beautiful.
And that's what that story reminds me of because they burnt that picture.
Yeah. Oh. So they ended up staying the night together, I think, right?
Didn't they end up having sex that night?
Yes.
Because he wasn't going to have sex with her.
Right, and then she ends up kissing him, right? And he said, they both were kind of like, wow. And she said, I'm sorry. Like, she's trying to apologize. And he's like, that was passion. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, that was passion. She never experienced it before. So this part of the story reminds me of me and my dude, because, like, the first time, first of all, like, being just hurt and having those barriers, I'll get to that at the end. I'm sorry. I'll get to that at the end.
I was into it.
Girl, I'll wait.
Okay.
So they're kind of just talking about, like, passion and just being, how it feels and what that was, because they both felt it when they kissed. So they end up going into the house. And when they got into the house, they sat in the chair, and he had her sit on his lap, like, straddling him. And he was like, if you like, do you trust me? They pretty much do this, like, exercise where he's touching her, but not, like, inappropriately, just so that she can have, like, affection.
And he was touching. I was thinking about Nam June doing all that touching.
Yes.
He was, like, touching her, like, in spots without, like, touching her. But he was touching her.
Yeah, he was touching places that are more sensitive than. Yeah. So this whole scene, I'm just like, this would be so amazing to, like, do with somebody.
You should do it.
I feel like it's too late. Like, I feel like we would have needed to do that early. Like,
in the beginning, right?
Like, I feel like I would have needed to be like, we're gonna, anyway. So
I don't know. You can still do it.
I'm gonna try it too. I hope you don't listen to this.
I hope you listening.
Oh man. But
so he ends up, like, touching her, like, very sensually, but he, like, was saying that he was not going to have sex with her. Like, that was not his plan. But she was, like, riled up by them, as she should be, okay?
Right.
And,
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say he was really respectful though, because like because he rolled her pants up, and then her shirt he rolled it up to like right underneath her, like where her bra would be, but she didn't have a bra on, so it was like the sweatshirt or whatever. So he's like rubbing on it, and she like stops because he's trying to keep control because stuff was happening. But he was pretty much like, I just want you to feel. And she's like, all right. So he starts moving his hands down her body and super slow, and she's getting chills and getting hot and bothered, and then stuff goes down.
Yeah, but he didn't want to. He was like, no. She was like, I want to feel.
Yeah.
I just want to feel you.
So sad though.
And they had sex, and that sex was good.
Girl, what? Y'all gotta read this because man.
This, I'm telling you, that smut is off the chain. I know we love good smut. This smut was great and detailed, had every little ooh and ah.
Man.
It was good.
It was so detailed. Oh my gosh, I want to read the story again. The story had me so emotional.
Yes, it was so good. It really was good.
Yeah.
Like he took care of her for somebody that hadn't had sex in a good minute.
And per the usual, he's packing.
Blessed. I was just thinking about that because every story that I read with Namjoon is like that, and it's always like he stretched it.
Yeah.
Honey, Namjoon, you better have a big dick. Okay.
I just want to see. I just want to know who's seen it and was like, "Look, we need to spread the word, y'all." Homeboy's
I
packing.
feel like somebody's seen a good print or something because in every story, it's him and Taeyong are like blessed.
Man.
Like, of course, the authors are going to write them with good packages.
Right.
But the Taeyong and Namjoon stories are extra blessed.
Yeah, and they always are they're very pointed in making sure that we all know that they're big. Because they don't do that for everybody else. They just be like, yeah, they did this, this, but Namjoon and Tae be hung.
Yes.
Oh, so after they have this amazing ass, beautiful ass sex, he asked her out on an official date.
Yeah, that's right.
So before she responds to him about going on the date, she's like trying to figure out like, why did he ask me if I still love him? Like, what does he know? How did he hear about that? So she asks him like, can we talk real quick before I like say anything? So they end up having a conversation, and he ends up telling her that, I overheard Tay and Jin talking, and please don't be mad at them. I just, I've noticed it, and that he noticed it, and that's how I heard. So he's like, did you hear the whole story? And she's like, yeah, kind of heard the whole thing, girl. But then she like immediately gets upset because she's just like, well, I don't want to go on a date with you, Namjoon, like, because pretty much thinking that he's doing it out of pity.
Yeah.
But he told her, he's like, this is not that. I really want to go out on a date with you. I know we just had sex, but that was something meaningful. I really want to do this. And so they end up going out.
And how she described this dress, I could not get it in my mind.
Yeah.
Cause she got all dressed up, and it was like, I feel like it was a cocktail dress, but with a sweetheart, like with a princess, like, what is it, like a sweetheart neckline? I was like, I couldn't think about nothing but the gypsy dress.
Yeah, I was having a hard time.
Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah. Girl.
Like I couldn't get the dress down.
I couldn't either. I was trying to figure it out, but I was just like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But something we forgot to mention. They had an open conversation about like everything, because he ended up telling her the story about Mina. Something that we forgot to mention about that backstory was she said that she wished the guy that she was talking to on the phone would get her pregnant, and she would make Namjoon think it was his. That's wild.
Yeah, she was trying to get pregnant. Like, Namjoon wanted to get pregnant, but she did not want to get pregnant by Namjoon. But he was on the phone on speaker, like, I wish you would let me get you pregnant, and we could really get his money. Like, that's how the other guy was thinking.
It's crazy.
And when she got home, Namjoon had all her stuff packed up.
Super G was like, yeah, nah. Here's your thing, sis. Go ahead and hit
Yeah,
kick rocks, boo.
yeah. And she was crying and going
Yeah, the
on.
nerve.
Girl, bye. Or like that, what my 3-year-old say, girl, bye.
Right. Right. Oh, so cute. So, after they had this, after he told her his story, he pretty much said that he could see himself falling for her, but he wants to get to know her first, and she was good with that, and so she agreed to go on the date.
hmm So they go out on this elaborate, beautiful date with this beautiful restaurant. And they have this nice foods. They had like salmon with some kind of side, but the salmon sound really good in the story. It's
Hmm.
just like this sounded really good. So they had like salmon, and it was great, and champagne, wine. They had wine. They had
Hmm.
wine because they had some sweet wine. I remember
Yeah,
reading. I was like, "Damn, they gonna have a headache with that sweet
girl.
wine." That's what I was. So anyway, so they had like some Moscato, rosé, something I
Hmm.
think, and some food or whatever, and then she decides that she wants to pay for the food.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool how she did it. But
Uh-huh.
she walked up. He went to the bathroom, and she went to the waitress. Was like, "Hey, girl, let me pay this real quick, but don't say nothing. Just when like bring our stuff out, and then we'll book it." So she's like, "Cool." And
Uh-huh.
they ended up getting a bottle of wine to go
Right.
in a
And a
box.
box.
And he was kind of
Hmm.
confused, like, what happened? Like, why do I not have a bill?
Yeah, he was like, I need to pay. And she was like, really? The waiter was down. So the waiter was like, really? Let me look. And, was looking and was like, looks like you're
Mm-hmm.
good to go. And then Namjoon said, well, okay, well, here go your tip. And gave her a big
Mm-hmm.
old tip.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, what Rachel's basically told him, I enjoyed you guys whenever you come back. As for me, yeah, was a good,
Mm-hmm.
customers. And she wanted to have them back. So anyway, they left. They went back out. Namjoon already knew she paid
Mm-hmm.
for it though.
Mm-hmm.
So they leave and they go back out and they go back to her house. They just have sex, right?
Yeah, I think. Oh,
I just remember they had really good sex and he was calling her a sneaky girl because she paid for that food. And I'm here to tell you from here on out in this whole story, they just have sex a
yeah. They
whole lot.
have a ton of sex. They have a lot of like meaningful conversations and moments of just getting to know one another
Yes.
and bonding with one another and really like learning each other and like their feelings just continue to grow. And then while all
Right.
this is happening, Tay and Jin's relationship is taking a step because I think that at a point in the story they are in a relationship, and then Jim and Yoongi and Jungkook are end up being in a relationship, and they don't see Jungkook for like a week.
Mhm. Yeah, John Cook was like, I got two boyfriends.
So,
But it was funny in the story that like whenever they would try to get intimate
mhm.
with John Cook he couldn't get up for Jimmy, but he could get up for Sugar.
Yeah,
But he was intimidated by
right.
Jimmy. That's why he couldn't get
Mhm.
up. But that was so cute
Yeah, that was really cute. I know they talk about because it does end up skipping like times. Like it's like it also like 2 weeks later, then it's like a month later type of thing.
Anyway, at the end of the day, they had a lot of sex. He ended up asking her to be his girlfriend, and she says yes, of
Oh
course.
wait. We gotta talk about how that happens though. So at some
Okay, go
point
ahead,
they
girl.
have a conversation about like Disney ends up being brought up, and there's a scene from a movie. I think it was Tangled that she really liked, where there's like lanterns. Yeah, remember it's
Oh
like this whole big thing.
yes, yes, I
Yeah, he
forgot
had a
about
limo.
that.
He was like dressed hella nice. Like he came and got her. They went to this.
Mm-hmm.
They had an amazing date. And then at the they had everything set up. They got on a boat and they had these lanterns that were being released on the water. And she got to like watch it. And he was just like watching her be so happy and all this stuff. And he asked,
Yeah, because she told him that her favorite Disney story was Tangled because how she came out of. Okay, we got to go back to the backstory.
okay,
The backstory is that Jen and her parents pretty much dipped
mhm,
off on them, like abandoned them straight up when they were
mhm,
kids. And so what she was talking about is why she loved Tangled so much is because it showed that you even though she had that evil stepmother, she still found joy and stuff, and she still came
Mm-hmm.
out great. And so that's why she loved Tangled so much, because it kind of reminded her of her parents being evil and left her and Jen to struggle by themselves, being in the foster system and coming out
Mm-hmm.
great. So that's why she liked Tangled. Yeah, so that's what you were talking about with the lanyards and stuff. If y'all ever watched Tangled, you know that was all she wanted to do was see the lights in the sky on
Right.
her birthday. So that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to see the lights in the sky. So Namjoon created that whole
Mm-hmm.
scene for her. And it
It
was
was beautiful. She
beautiful.
was just so like so appreciative of that moment.
Right. All to ask her to be
Alter
his
as
girlfriend. And basically she was like, you did not have to do all this to ask me to be your girlfriend, because I was gonna say yes
right.
anyway.
So they kind of just go through dates and they go on vacations together and they like are just kind of being together.
It goes to the part where Namju, like they spend so much
Mm-hmm.
time with each other, but then after a while, like it goes to this part of the story. They had been together for like a year at this time, and then Namjoon start having to like work really hard, him and Tay, to get like this
Mm-hmm.
important client. So they're at work a lot, and so they end up being at work
Oh,
like a
this is my
whole
favorite scene.
bunch. And yes, girl. So they end up being at work. Him being at work a whole bunch. Like he be sending Tay them home so he can finish like going over the details really thoroughly and stuff. And she decides that she okay, so he sends Tatum home because he just wants to go through all the details. She asking Tatum, oh, where's Namjoon? And he was like, Namjoon sent us home, we've been there all day. And he's just going over like the fine details. And he told me to tell you, wait, didn't he write a
Yeah, he
note
wrote a
to
note to her,
her?
but I forgot what it said.
So he wrote a note to her, and the note was basically saying, I'm sorry that I've been out so late, but I promise you I'm gonna come and get in the bed with you, and we'll cuddle all
Mm-hmm.
night or something. And she just was like, oh, that's sweet or whatever. And so then she just was talking to Tay about some stuff, and then all of a sudden she was like, well, Tay was like, where you going? And she was like, I'm going to take him some food because I know
Right.
you're not gonna eat. So she packed us lunch, and she going to the office. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, this is when shit gets juicy, y'all. The
this
only
is really
drama.
the only
Yeah.
real drama.
This shit is crazy.
So me, so meanwhile, Namjoon's in there going through his stuff, and guess who come knocking at the
Mm-hmm.
door? Man, with her trifling self, come knocking on the door, talking to him, and the whole time he's like, "Get out! I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Why you here? I got a girl that I love. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with you." And she all loving on him and trying to get him back. I really want you, and I realized I really do love you, and we need to be together. You would never love her like you love me. And he was like, but that's where you're
Well, no,
wrong.
I think he said no. He did. He said, "You're right. I will never love her like I loved you because this is better. Like this is yeah."
Yeah.
And so she was talking mess. And during all this,
Mhm.
old girl has already gone in the building. She's at the door,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I did not think it was going to turn out like this. I really thought it was about to be something else, but I'm so glad that it
Right.
wasn't.
Like I was thinking, right, because I was thinking she was gonna be touching her. She walks in and she sees her
Mm-hmm.
kissing him, and she storms out. That's what I
Me
thought it was
too.
gonna be like.
That's not at all what happens.
But it went like that. Right. So she go up in there, and the first word she says is "Hi."
Mm-hmm.
And and men are looking at her like, oh, this her or whatever. Oh, he want me. He did it. And basically, she told her
Mm-hmm.
off. She told her
She did.
off.
She was like, "You raggedy ass bitch. You got me messed up. If you think I'm gonna believe your dumb ass, like,
Thank you. Now, girl, I'm over here wiggling my head with my finger out like I'm talking.
girl, me too. I was pointing like somebody was in the corner, like, oh man,
Right. And then she was like, if you don't get up
Right. I
out
will
of
drag
here
you out, homegirl.
with that man, yes, he would never love you. This
Right.
is my man. You would never have him. This is mine.
Yeah.
And she basically shut the door
And
on her
Namjoon was
face
super turned on, and they had sex right in that office, and that was like the first time he had ever done that
on, on, the,
on the
on the
desk.
desk. But in my head, I was thinking this is Tay's
Oh, from
office
the Dr.
from
Yeah,
Sex Day.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. That's accurate. Yep.
Uh, it's funny how when you think about different stories, you kind of put the scenes
Yeah.
together from other stories.
Yep.
But anyway, so they have great sex on the desk or whatever, and
So
then
it comes
what
it comes
happens?
time for we skipping a lot, but there's a lot of detail if you guys want to like check it out. But there's a part where
Uh-huh.
they've been together a while at this point. It's their anniversary and they wanted to both do something special for one another. So she had made him this painting
Uh-huh.
and she wanted to make sure it was completely right. And what she made pretty much had his eyes in it. And so that was her gift to him. So she ended up showing it to him and he was touched. Like he was just like, wow, this is amazing. So
Okay.
she has this painting that she made for him and he's like super touched about it. So he tells her, "Hey, I have your gift as well, but I don't have it wrapped." So his gift is a receipt for the payment for the rest of the ring. So earlier, him and Jen went to the jewelry store that had the ring in it, or had the payments, and he
Mhm.
paid the remaining balance for her as a gift because he felt that that was something that she didn't need to be burdened by anymore because it was a constant reminder of a really bad time in her life. That is the
Right.
sweetest thing ever. So her gift was a
Yes,
receipt.
girl. And she busted out cried. Oh
Right.
my gosh. She cried so hard because it was just so sweet. Like you would not have thought to do that. That took some thought and some real love to know that he just want he because in the story was written he wanted her to only focus on him, to only
Mm-hmm.
think about him and not have to be burdened at all by
Yeah.
this ex at all. No
I
way
think he
at
called it
all.
like a monthly reminder of what happened to her or something like that.
Yes. Oh my God. That would be so horrible. Paying for a
Man,
ring
that you don't even have.
that you don't got, which we know is a big rock that somebody else
Yeah.
rocked.
Oh, that's so sad. So, yeah. So
Hmm.
after that, she was like, "Hey, I just gotta tell you, I love you so much. I've loved you for a long time. I didn't want to scare you off, but like, this is how I feel. I'm completely yours." She's like, I'm never gonna be able to repay. I'm not gonna be able to repay you for this. And he's like, "Okay, hush all that. I don't want anything in return. I just want to be with you." And she's like, "I'm here. I'm
Right.
yours." And then they had sex.
Yep. But this time they
How did
had
it
even better
matter?
sex because then they figured out that they both
Mm-hmm.
loved each other while having this sex. Honey.
Oh,
Flash forward, they both find out that they
oh
both want a
yeah, yeah,
family.
yeah. And he ends up proposing at a point. So they do get
Mhm.
engaged. I think they get married. I think it like flash forward. Tay
And they get engaged the same way
their
as like
first
their
date.
first way of like when he asked to go out with her. So he did that. He recreated that
Mm-hmm.
scene again for her.
And so Tay and Jen are. Did they get married already?
Yeah, they was engaged too, boo. Cause the same time he was asking her to marry him, he had told her that Tay was gonna ask
Oh, they
Jen
were
to
in
marry him.
Paris.
But
No,
they
they
was
were in
in
Paris.
Greece or something.
They were
I
in
thought they was in
Paris because
Greece.
remember that was a place that Jen
Oh,
always wanted to go.
oh,
Yeah,
okay. I don't know why.
I thought it was Paris. They,
Okay,
they were
well they were
somewhere, girl.
somewhere.
I don't know. But yeah, so that was happening on both ends, and then you flash forward like another time frame, and Homegirl is about to give birth. Wait, or were the kids already there? They ended up flashing forward, and they are getting married. They have
Uh-huh.
kids already, or did they?
No, they were getting married, so they end up getting married, and then 2 years later they were trying to have kids, but they couldn't get
Mm-hmm.
pregnant,
Oh yeah.
and they kept trying, and so they went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Nothing's wrong with either one of y'all,
Mm-hmm.
just keep trying." And so she finally did get pregnant. And when she found out she was pregnant, she ran into Namjoon's building where he was having this big important meeting. And she didn't even care about busting open in that meeting and saying, I'm pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And they were just so happy. And then, like, they had one of their big investors there, but the investor was somebody that did business with their dad. So that the investor was really nice, and he was just like, "Don't worry about it. Go and celebrate
Mm-hmm.
with your wife. Like I've been doing business with your dad forever. Y'all make me so much money. I'm
Yeah, he was
gonna
like, y'all
sign
didn't even have to
again."
do all this. You could have just asked and I would have gave it to you.
Right, right. So so then they was he told her to you need to make a doctor's appointment. She was like, "Bam,
Right.
done it on the way here." And they was like, okay, so they had a doctor's appointment
Mm-hmm.
scheduled that day. So they ended up going to the doctor's appointment. Ended up being she
But
was pregnant with
twins.
twins. Oh, two Kim Namjoons. So she had these twin boys. They was identical because they was born in the same placenta, and they both had dimples like they fine
One had
daddy.
two and one had one. That's so
One,
cute.
yeah, yeah. And so, basically they live happily ever after. And then they had um the other part of the story where the twins grew up and they were now dating and they was in college and even though they was old by then, because them twins was 18 years old by the time we see
Mm-hmm.
this part of the story, Namjoon and Nuna was still getting the
Yeah,
album.
they was definitely still getting it in. Still cute
They
and
was
still
still
like
getting
just as passionate as they were when they first met. It was just super cute. Like,
yeah,
this story was so great. Okay, so
it
how did you feel
was.
about the story?
I love this story. It was full of fluff, full of smut. It was just so good. I was looking for more drama, but I really
Mm-hmm.
did not miss it either.
Yeah, it
Like, if
does.
that makes sense. Because I messaged you and I was like, I don't see the drama. You was like, I got a feeling, but it didn't happen other than the little bit that we have. But it was just so good
Right.
that it didn't even matter. Like, I enjoyed
Yeah, it
this
was
story so much.
beautiful. Like I love the story. I thought it was so well written, and I really liked like the amount of smut that was in it and the amount of fluff. Which y'all know we really like rarely read stories that have a bunch of fluff in them, but this one was super good. It was this story I related to a lot because I've been the person that's been like super shut off after a crazy ass heartbreak and multiple heartbreaks and not healing from it and just kind of like shutting myself in and having to find and then finding somebody who
Mhm.
also has their own type of hurt, but as we're together we're like working on things to be better and really trust and understand one another. And so it's like the story I related to the story so much, and I was
Aw.
telling my dude about it. I'm like, I was like, this it reminds me of us. And yeah, a lot of the stuff hasn't like necessarily happened to us, but like just that passion and that connection that's like instant, and that like just un like undeniable love and affection and caring about another human being is like how we feel about one another. So I was super emotional while reading this story. Long story short.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
beautiful thing,
amazing.
though. It's a beautiful thing.
So
Yeah.
that was the story, guys. I do want to I do want to let you
Yay.
guys know the author has a contest going on where she'll be doing something pretty much based off of like a pay it forward type of movement. If you guys go to her page on Wattpad, it does have it in a story, and I'll add the link below in the podcast information where you can kind of read up on it. It's just you showing you pay it forward. You can enter the information. It has the details of what you can do. There'll be 2 U.S. winners. There'll be one non-U.S. winner. You'll want to make sure that you do comment on her page and not on the chapter. You'll want to make sure you put your country as well as your age. This contest that she is doing is going through the 27th, and you do have to be 18 or older. So it is just like a drawing, and so you guys definitely submit those good deeds that you've been doing. If you think it's like silly and it's small, just send them anyway, because there's not a deed that's like too small. You can
Right.
definitely add that. Again, it'll be in the podcast information, so you guys can get to that. We also are going to start doing an author's note. And so, or like a behind the story type of thing. And our next episode will actually be speaking with the author and releasing the episode to kind of find out like the information behind it and all of that. So tune in for that next time.
Yay, I'm
Yeah, me
excited for
too.
that. I think that's a new segment, guys, that we're gonna try to introduce. Like we're gonna try to
Mm-hmm.
do that with other artists, or writers or authors that we like or we want to know more about. I know I told D myself I kind of want to go back for what story did I
Oh,
say?
Remember Us. Remember Me. Yeah.
Remember us, remember me. Oh yeah, remember us, the sequel. I kind of want to go back, so we'll try. We'll see if we can remember some of that story and get
Yeah,
back to that
definitely.
Arthur as well. But that's something new that we're going to try to introduce. You guys, tell us how you like it, and remember to send those requested, like send those
Oh yeah,
tell us
send
what
those
you want us to
recommendations
read,
into us.
basically. Recommendations. I can't
Yeah.
get that word out. I can't get it out. Send those recommendations to us. What you want us to read, what you want us to review. We're open to anything.
Yeah, just let us know.
Just let us
You
know.
guys can hit us up on Twitter. You can hit us up on Instagram. You can also email us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com. But yeah, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah, bye.